There, now you got.
What happened? You were there and then you were gone.
It's because I didn't have the camera turned on, but I needed to do it in the settings.
Ah.
And that's probably why the timer won't work, because it couldn't get onto the camera. Okay. Yeah, sure. It should work. Yeah. Hopefully my timer will work. Yeah. Okay.
Is it working now?
Maybe. Nope, it's not working. There we go.
There it is.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Shelly.
Hi, Roberta. I'm going to mute us because we're very noisy.
What did I do now? What am I in trouble for now?
We'll think of something. We'll think of something.
You can probably find enough guilt on enough levels, Shelly, to get me in trouble. It's good.
Welcome, guys.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Are you guys excited about tonight? So you guys are our 5th forum here at the St. Albert Chamber. So you think we're old pros, but we're really not. So. Okay, so I'm just going to take a quick attendance. So Dina, you're here. Harko, Jason, Matthew. I thought I see Neil. Where'd he go? Okay, well, maybe I didn't see Neil. Matthew, Lee, Ronald, Wayne. So we'll just wait for a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Give a few more people the opportunity. I'm just gonna watch my email as well and my phone here. I am expecting 8 people for sure. I have reached out to everybody today, so I'm hoping that get everybody. Lee, I really like that Mountie bear in the background. Oh, you're muted, so you. Oh, I thought I seen Neil.
Sorry, that was a gift when I retired.
Okay. Okay. So there's 9 of you.
Progress. Can you hear me?
Guys, spoiling me. Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Just wave if you can hear me. Terrific. Thank you very much. My name's Steve Kahn. I'll be your moderator for tonight. My job is to make you guys all look wonderful. So just smile, have fun with it, guys. Only my mom is watching. Maybe your moms too. Everybody feeling all right? Thumbs up? Okay, terrific, thank you. We'll try to make this as painless as possible for you guys.
Can you ask Roberta if she needs me to pin and mute people or if she's doing?
Roberta, we have a question from Shelley. Great to see you, by the way, Roberta. How are you?
Good, long time no see.
Yeah,
hey?
Wonderful to see you. Shelley has a question.
I keep on popping back into people's lives randomly.
Yeah.
Hey, are you muting and pinning people?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. Just checking.
So Shelley.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Did you make me you need to make me a co-host so I can do it.
Okay, I'll get Megan to do that. She's just on the cell phone.
Yeah, I see that.
And Roberta, I've kind of, in the last 2 days of moderating, what I'll do is I'll pick on Jason here. I'll say, Jason, if you're ready, the floor is yours. And that will gives you a little bit of time to unmute them. And it gives the candidates an opportunity to kind of get set.
Perfect.
So a nice little rhythm, and it worked really well the last couple of days. So we'll stick with that here. So guys, I'll introduce, we'll do a question, and what I'll try to do is make sure that we have the proper order. So, what I'll say is, the first person up to answer the question is Neil Cuomo. He'll be followed by Deanna Stang. Neil, if you're ready, the floor is yours. That'll give Roberta time to unmute, so you don't have to worry about that. You get set, rock and roll, deliver a brilliant answer, and then it'll be Dina's turn. She'll deliver a brilliant answer, and after I say the floor is yours, okay?
Perfect.
Thumbs up, that works for everybody? Awesome, thank you guys. Thanks, Roberta. Fun working with you.
Yeah, it will be fun. This is my 4th forum in a week, so we're good.
All virtual?
No, we had one live in Morinville on Tuesday.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so it was interesting. Actually, worked out really well. Not a huge crowd, but it was fun.
Excellent. Good. Terrific, guys.
Okay, everybody. We need to figure out the order that we're going to go in. So I don't know. Stephen, are you marking this down?
I think Megan's going to prepare a matrix.
Okay, so.
What is the order though?
Skinner. Do you see that?
Yeah.
You can see it. You can't really read it. It's fuzzy, Shelley, but it has everybody's name on it. So I'm going to spin it.
Okay. Whoever's
name comes up first is number 1.
We told you this was going to be fun, guys. A little Wheel of Fortune action for you.
Walter.
Walter, I just want to make sure I'm not butchering your last name. It's Nachu. Walter?
That's Walker Nachu.
Walker, I'll try my best. Not now. I have a bad habit of once I started calling you Walter, I'll probably drop the what. Feel free to correct me if I mess your names up, guys. Walker, is it? Did I get the? I got the easy part wrong. Did I get the hard part right? Is it Nachu?
Nachu.
Okay. Yeah, Walker's on.
No, he is not.
I just talked to him, didn't I?
No, he's not on yet.
Oh, that wasn't Walker. That was somebody. That was a helpful person. Okay, thank you.
So Ronald is 2.
Ronald is 2.
Hey, Shelley, who is 1?
Walker.
Walker, Kate.
Ronald Shaw, number 2.
So Walker cannot get on, and neither can Robin.
Is it their bandwidth?
Yeah.
Can they call in?
That's what I'm trying to get them to do.
Jason.
E.
And Shelley, you don't have to hold the camera, your phone so close to the camera.
I believe that says Neil.
Neil's number 4. Neil Cuomo.
Wayne.
Wayne, number 5. Wayne Bockenford, number 5. Deanna, number 6.
Sorry, I just have to delete the people that get chosen.
Harco,
Okay.
number 7.
Walker got in.
Okay, is Robin there? See Robin?
Not yet, Megan, but Walker made it on.
Yeah, Walker, I see him, but I'm looking for Robin. He's having trouble connecting as well. Okay, I'm gonna try calling him back.
Jonathan Kilbourne, number 8.
Who did it say? Robin? Robin F.
Robin Fuhr, number 9.
I don't see Robin on, but
I don't see Robin or Jonathan actually.
Sorry? There's 2 missing?
Yeah, Robin and Jonathan.
Lee is 10 and then Matthew is 11. Okay, so Roberta, are you introducing? Like welcome.
You want me to introduce, or I can introduce?
It's up to you.
Sure.
Roberta, you just introduced me. Just pass it on to me and I'll take it from there. That's what
Oh,
Shelley's
okay.
been doing the last 2 days.
So I've known Stephen Kahn for a long time, 10 years, I think now.
At least.
When I started working at the St. Albert Chamber in my past life. So anyways, I'd like to introduce Stephen Kahn. He is a longtime supporter of the St. Albert Chamber. Wonderful person in general. I'm going to turn it over to you.
That was brilliant. Okay, and then I've got my script where I'm not candidates. I'm not introducing you. You'll be able to introduce yourselves in your opening statements. It just makes more sense, and nobody's here to hear me talk. Everybody's here to hear you guys talk. Okay. So we've just established the order, and you will each have a 2-minute opening remark. And I'll repeat the order again. We've got Walker Nachu, number 1, Ronald Shaw, number 2, Jason Berry, number 3, Neil Cuomo, number 4, Wayne Bockenford, number 5, Deanna Stang, number 6, Harco Middlecamp, number 7, Jonathan Kilbourne, number 8, Robin Fuhr, number 9, and where's my number 10? Lee Danchuk, number 10, and Matthew Mclennan, batting cleanup, is number 11. Okay.
So Roberta, how do you want to handle it if we can't get Walker in?
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
How do you want to handle it if Walker can't get in?
Okay, now I can see.
Walker's in.
I'm in.
It's Robin that's having trouble.
Robin's having trouble, and I don't see Jonathan either.
Yeah.
So they're further down, so we can wait for them.
You know what place you're in, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Like what order you're in?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, and Shelly, I'm not co-host yet, so you might want to make me co-host so I can.
I'll do that right now.
Okay.
Make co-host?
Yeah.
Your co-host? So Robin's in, so the only one we're missing is.
And I'm just going to do a quick test to say, okay, I can only ask to unmute. I cannot physically unmute them.
Go ahead.
I can mute, but I can't unmute. So
Guys, I'm just gonna get you guys to wave or say hi. Jason. We have Jason there. Okay. Wayne. There. Neil. Robin.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. We'll have to rename
I'll
him.
rename him.
Walker. Yeah.
Hello.
Jonathan. Okay, there's no Jonathan. Matthew. Okay. Harco. Deanna. And Ronald. Okay, perfect. So we don't have Jonathan.
You didn't mention my name, Lee Danchuk.
Who?
Lee Danchuk, he's number 10 on this list.
Oh, Lee?
Yeah.
Sorry, Lee.
You're on the list, you're number 10, correct? Okay.
yes, he's number 10.
Now, to all the candidates, if I mess up your name, feel free to correct me. It's important that everybody knows what your names are. If I miss you or you get overlooked during a question, don't be shy, raise your hand, interrupt, keep me on track, okay? I won't take offense, everything's good. This is all about you. We want to put you in a good light so you can get your message out. So don't feel bad about if we have some technical issues or if there's questions that we're not coming back to you and it's your turn. By all means, just raise your voice, raise your hand, and we'll make sure that you get the opportunity. Okay.
So the only one here is Jonathan. So I crossed them off.
Okay, so no Jonathan.
So we'll just skip over Jonathan, and then
okay.
I've crossed out all 8s.
Okay. Okay, so guys, I'm saying this more for my benefit than for yours. It's going to go where Roberta does it. Here's Steve. I've got an introduction. I'll read the introduction, and then we're going to get right into your opening remarks. Walter's number 1, Ronald's number 2, Jason, and I'll introduce you guys that way. After that, we're going to hop right into the questions. We should be around 7 o'clock. We get into the questions. You will have 1 minute, and your things go mute after a minute. So you'll see the time on the screen. Try to make sure you're concise and wrap up for that minute. Then we're going to take a break around 7:30. We'll come back to part 2 of the Q&A around 7:35. And then around 8:05, you each have 2 minutes to do your concluding closing statements. And what we'll do is we'll change the order. We'll start with Matthew and work our way back to Walker for the concluding. If that makes sense to everybody, quick thumbs up. Terrific, thank you. Guys,
Okay.
Best of luck, break a leg. Easy for me to say, have fun with it, okay? One last thing, it's Deanna or Dina? Deanna. Okay, perfect, thank you, Deanna.
Okay, guys, I'm sure you already said this, Stephen, but 2-minute introduction. I know the sheet says 3, but it's actually 2 minutes and a 1-minute closing. That was my typo. I apologize for that.
You can do it off the front one if you want, or do you want me to write it down?
And what else?
If I don't come back, come bail me out.
I'll-
When I mess up, come and bail me out.
Okay, guys, and we ask that you have your cameras on while we're doing the forum. Everything says my name. I'm so popular. So I'm going to start the meeting, okay? Hey, good luck, everybody, and I look forward to hearing your stuff, everything going on. So we are starting.
It's my turn. Hi, everyone. I'm Roberta Pollock. I'm the Executive Director of the Mclennan District Chamber of Commerce. And I'd like to introduce Stephen Kahn, our moderator for tonight. Stephen is a longtime resident and active member of the St. Albert Chamber.
Roberta, thank you so very much. Good evening. Welcome to the Sturgeon County 2021 Virtual Councilors Election Forum, hosted by the St. Albert District Chamber of Commerce and the Morinville District Chamber of Commerce. Even though we're not meeting in person tonight, we would like to honor and acknowledge that we are on traditional land within the Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis people in Alberta. We acknowledge all, recognized and unrecognized, who have cared for and who continue to care for this beautiful land. We are glad you could attend tonight's forum to hear from each of the councillors that are vying to represent your vote in council. My name is Stephen Kahn, former cabinet minister and MLA of St. Albert. Together with Roberta Pollock, Morinville District Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, St. Albert District Chamber of Commerce Interim Director of Operations, Shelley Nickel, Events Manager, Megan Nepus-Hill, and Policy Coordinator, Cohen McLeod, we will be your moderating team this evening. Councillors from Division 1 and 2 are not in attendance. As most of you know, they are running uncontested. We're going to start by giving each candidate an opening statement. They will speak for 2 minutes. They will be signaled in the following manner. After the candidate's name has been announced, the official timer shown on the screen starts. At the 2-minute mark, the microphone will mute. Following the opening statements, we will move directly into the question period of our forum. The speaking order was determined by a draw at the briefing session prior to the forum. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to their question. We will take a short 5-minute break at the 7:30 mark. When we return, the second half of your question period will commence. Please use the Q&A feature to send your questions to the candidates. Our team will be continuously monitoring for questions. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for a closing statement, and speaking order will be opposite to the order of the opening statement. And candidates will be signaled in the same manner as the opening statements. So our candidates are all ready and ready to impress. We will be starting in an order that was determined in a meeting right before we started. And the opening, first up for the opening comments will be Walker Nachu, who will be followed by Ronald Shaw. Walker, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First things first, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who's taking the time out of their day to be here, and especially thank you to all the other candidates who are taking it upon themselves to get involved and have a say in their community. With that being said, I'll get into my own introduction. So I'm 21 years old. I'm currently a student at MacEwan University. I'm in my second year of a Bachelor of Arts. I'm studying economics, and I plan to minor in business law. Both things that I think will bring a lot of value to council if I'm elected. My decision to run for council was largely influenced by my own interest in the future of Sturgeon County. This is the place where I've grown up, and it's where I'd like to be able to build a career and start a family one day. And I recognize that the committees and councils meeting today are deciding what my future will look like 5, 10, and 15 years from now. So I would like to be able to have a say in those matters and be able to represent the younger generation, so that in the future they're able to have a community that's been built with them in mind. As far as my platform, I'm running out of time, so you'll...
My apologies. I sneezed and I hit click to mute you, Walker. Steve, you're muted.
Walker, I think you were just about to conclude. I think we deprived you of about 10, 15 seconds. So by all means, Walker, if you want to take the opportunity to wrap up your opening remarks, please do so now.
Thank you very much. No problem. I understand that there's some difficulties doing this online. But lastly, like I said, I'm running because I want to see some more representation of the younger generations. I appreciate all the work that's been done to build this community, and I want to be a part of shaping it for the future. So thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from everyone else.
Well done, Walker. Thank you. Next up, we will have Ronald Shaw, who will be followed by Jason Berry. Ronald, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and fellow, I guess, counselors. Possibilities are there. Yeah, so a little bit about me, guys, is I've been in the area for quite a few years. Was born and raised here in Sturgeon County. I live on the east side of Sturgeon. I have, my family has been a generational farmer here for over 100 years. And for myself, I have lived here all my whole life, and I have 3 sons. And we live in the industrial heartland in the back corner. And I got involved a few years ago in the task force and resident task force, and I work with the county a bit, and that kind of spurred me on to kind of take a bigger interest in the county and the things that were going on, and that kind of was my motivation to start working, start to get involved and run. So. A few more other things about me. I just retired from 33 years of teaching. I just retired on Tuesday, and great career, met a lot of people, and it was very rewarding, but I'm looking forward to some new challenges. And for me, I guess my vision for the upcoming election is I would love to see growth and prosperity in the county, but I temper that with sustainability. In order to have this, we need to have sustainability, and that to me is 2 things: being environmentally conscious of the choices that we're making, but also taking into account the people and lifestyles that are living in the area as well. So that's one of the big things. As well, I think everyone in the county is always wondering about how money's being spent, and I think a great way to do that is just for us to take and kind of give the residents a list of what are the services and expectations of the county, and that way I think residents would kind of know what's going on. And to wrap up, the last thing for me is wellness. I really think the county is lacking some wellness.
Ronald, thank you very much. Well done. Next up, we will have Jason Berry, who will be followed by Neil Cuomo. Jason, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right, good evening. I'm Jason Berry and candidate for Sturgeon County Division 6. First thing I want to start off is I was sent a reminder today by the Gibbons Bockenford Food Bank, as I've done work with them before. They're taking applications for the Christmas hampers. I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone to donate to their local food bank. Unfortunately, it is probably going to be a busy year for them given the circumstances in the world right now. So I know it's important to know the candidate. We'll share a little bit about myself now, and I'll talk platform in my closing remarks. So I'm a 35-year area resident. Past 15 years, my wife and 2 kids have been living in Casa Vista subdivision, which is just east of Gibbons. It's actually a real gem. I also grew up just north of Redwater. And the funny story is I still have my CIBC Redwater bank account that I had as a kid growing up. I still use it today. My work life has been all in the industrial construction industry. I'm an engineering technologist and a journeyman tradesman. For the past 18 years, I've been working with as a manager for a large industrial company. It's a multi-million-dollar fast-growing company and going strong. I plan to use my experience in this industrial field to promote and support Division 6's GEM. It's Alberta Industrial Heartland. So I just want to finish up and saying that I announced my intentions as a candidate very early on. I believe it was March or so. I've been invested in this for
Thank you very much, Jason. Well done. Next up, we will have Neil Cuomo, who will be followed by Wayne Bockenford. Neil, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Hello to everyone listening tonight. My name is Neil Cuomo, and I've been proud to represent Division 4 for the last 4 years. It would be my honor to represent Division 4 residents for the next 4 years. Along the way, I've met many people within the division, county, surrounding municipalities, and the business world, and have developed many great relationships. These relationships have proved to be beneficial in moving forward with the changes and improvements that I strive to attain. Some key accomplishments over the past 4 years that I would like to highlight for Division 4 are the local roads and drainage work, paving in River Kabar and Heritage Industrial Park, the broadband investment, and new builds in the business sector being G3 Grain Terminal, Van Brabant Services new shop, and the Father's House Church and School, to name a few. If re-elected for another 4 years, I would like to continue to work on and improve rural roads and drainage, support and explore further agricultural opportunities, whether that be innovation or in the value-added sector, continue the rollout for improved broadband for even more rural residents, continue the message that Sturgeon County is open for business and ready to explore economic opportunities to further diversify the county's portfolio. Explore waste to energy options, fire and protective services for the west part of the county. Alternative water supply in the form of bulk water stations to support the agricultural and acreage sectors, specifically in the Elkendale region. And I would like to continue the open line of communication between residents, council, and administration. The continued importance of supporting and working with the community groups is paramount, specifically in Division 4, the RQB Arena and Ag Society, the Elkendale Hall, and West Country Hearth, as these are the fabric of our rural roots. With this, I'm asking you for support in re-election for Division 4 Council, and thank you for your time and support.
Well done, Neil. Thank you very much. Next up, we will have Wayne Bockenford, who will be followed by Deanna Stang. Wayne, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stephen. And good evening to everybody putting their name forward. My name is Wayne Bockenford. I'm 59. I'm married with 2 children, 2 boys that have both graduated through the Sturgeon School Division and the U of A, and they both graduated as doctors, I'm proud to say. So the system does work, and I want to continue to have our youth live, work, and play in our own community. As a land developer, you have to have a vision. You can't be putting something on the market that is in today's mind. You have to be 10 years ahead of time to bring something to market that the market will want in 10 years' time. And my vision for the county has been that. For the last 2 terms, I've worked on road, drainage, and rural broadband. And a lot of people think that rural broadband is just farmers wanting Netflix. And it's just completely the opposite. It's our livelihood. It's for our business. It's for our education. It's for our medical. It's for our home security. It's for our aging in place. And yes, entertainment. I would like to continue on, if I'll be elected, to finish off this project, as I think it's a backbone to a successful county. Without proper communication and the livelihoods of our residents to be able to communicate to the world, we can work anywhere. And I would like them working from Sturgeon County. The other thing I'm proud to have accomplished in the last term is that through my involvement with FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, I brought forward a motion from Fire Marquee that has now been generating $75,000 to $150,000 annually to the county revenue. And I would like to see that first part of that money that's been unallocated used to do a survey for fire protection in the Division 3, Division 4 area, as we only have 1 part-time fire department in all of our area west of Highway 2. So if re-elected, those are 2 of my big priorities. I want to revisit the land use bylaw, as we want to be able to have our children be able to subdivide on other pieces of land and have them work and be near home, and our seniors. Thank you. I look for your support.
Thank you, Wayne. Well done. Next up, we will have Deanna Stang, who will be followed by Harco Middlecamp. Deanna, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you, St. Albert and Morinville Chamber of Commerce, for the forum to speak today. Good evening. My name is Deanna Stang. I'm a wife, mother, grandmother. I've had the privilege to live in Sturgeon County and area for 44 years. I come from a line of entrepreneurs, as my mother owned a local hair salon and my father started the business that my husband and I have owned for the last 19 of their 38 years, a manufacturing facility which employs local residents throughout its time. As management, I have a clear understanding of fiscal responsibility and trusting your team to fulfill their tasks. Raising a busy, active family led me to volunteer in many different capacities: secretary, treasurer, chairperson for many local groups and organizations and schools. At which point I decided to run for the town council for the town of Legal, an amazing experience to be part of. It gave me a better understanding and insight on how to better serve my community. I had the opportunity to fulfill many roles during that time: liaison for the Chamber of Commerce, seniors housing, and FCSS, just to name a few. More recently, over the last 7 years, I have been working as a financial consultant, first for a national wealth management company, then ventured out on my own with the same products. Division 5 is a diverse community as it blends successful agricultural businesses, environmental recycling, food and animal products, tourist destinations, generational farmlands, and engaged residents. Some of my key concerns: protective services, including policing and fire, advocating for equal priority on road maintenance and highway safety. If elected, I look forward to a continuation of the hard work that the previous council has started, and will see many improvements to the services and infrastructure we share. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna. Well done. Next up, we will have Harco Middlecamp, who will be followed by Robin Fuhr. Harco, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. I moved here 25 years ago from the Netherlands, Holland. I was born and raised on a farm there. We moved here to have a bigger future in the farming industry. I farmed here for 25 years this year with together with my parents. I'm married for 12 and a half years now. I have 2 daughters. I've been part of the local fire department for 17 years. I rose through the ranks there from firefighter all the way to deputy fire chief. I'm part of my girls' school for school council. I chaired that for the last 2 years. And yeah, I've been These all have led me to have a strong ability to identify some of the struggles that are going on in the communities and the members with fundraising groups, local businesses. I pride myself on being able to find out-of-the-box solutions for many problems. My goals over the next 4 years, explore new avenues for economic development to support our local businesses for fiscal responsibilities, more local community hall awareness and events that are going on, and infrastructures, so as the roads, ditches, corner brushing, and broadband internet that the county is working on at the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harco. Well done. Next up, we have Robin Fuhr, who will be followed by Lee Danchuk. Robin, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Hello, my name is Robin Fuhr, and I'm running for councillor in Division 4. I grew up on a farm in Sturgeon County, and I've lived there for the majority of my life. I have education and work experience in construction and the information technology field. I currently volunteer with the St. Albert Food Bank as a driver on a weekly basis. Here are just a few of the things that I would like to look at if I'm elected to council. I would like to hold the line on taxes. Council has held taxes to 0% for the last year. I'm going to like to see that carry forward on a very minimal tax increase for future years. And I would like to ensure fiscal responsibility for the county by making sure budgets and taxes are held to a reasonable and sustainable level, and that as a county, we are not overextending ourselves. Another issue is road services. Roads have improved, but will always be an issue as more work and funding will be required as our counties grow. I think roads are an issue for all municipalities as we live in an environment that changes constantly with our seasons. I will provide focused leadership that will prioritize improved roads with fiscal responsibility and expectation of county growth. Third issue I'm looking at is community policing. I will look at policing within the community and what we have at present and if it can be improved upon. The cost for increased policing will be substantial, and residents should have a say into what degree of protection they would like and can afford to pay for. The Alberta Provincial Rural Crime Watch Association is a good place to start with this. As the cities of St. Albert and Edmonton get closer to Sturgeon County, we have to look at crime statistics and try to find better ways to protect people and property in Sturgeon County. In conclusion, I am open to listening to people's ideas and opinions and incorporating them into what I can bring to council. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Well done. Next up, we will have Lee Danchuk, who will be followed by Matthew Mclennan. Lee, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank the Chamber for sponsoring this forum, and also wish all the candidates the best of luck as we move forward into the election. My name is Lee Danchuk. I'm running for council after being involved in public service with the Provincial Fire Investigators Office in the RCMP for the last 45 years. I believe one of the main platforms that I have is that we should look at a number of things. First of all, the roads and drainage has been brought to my attention on a number of people I have visited. The second thing is that, another thing that is the policing and the safety and security of our people and their property. One lady told me that she's been broken into 5 times that lives in the Sturgeon area. So I would be in favor of supporting Rural Crime Watch and also getting new or additional RCMP officers and supporting bylaw enforcement and growing that area of this. I currently sit on 2 boards with the county. I'm chairman of the Tax Assessment Review Board and vice chairman of the Subdivision Development Appeal Board. So I have the experience, and my family and I have lived in the Sturgeon County area for the last 20 years. And that's about it. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to election night on Monday. Take care.
Lee, thank you very much. Well done. Next up, we will have Matthew Mclennan. Matthew, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Mclennan. I'm a candidate for Division 3 Councilor. For those of you who don't know me, I obtained my degree in Phys Ed in 2004 from the University of Alberta. Afterward, I worked for several years at Grant MacEwan University in the athletics department as an events coordinator. As events coordinator, we dealt with everything from start to finish. So everything from promotions to contracts to hiring staff. I took that experience and in 2009 started my own business. At the core of the business is relationships and positive relationships with our customers, with our contractors, and with everyone that we come in contact with. We want people to have a good impression of our company, a good impression of me, and we want people to receive value for their dollar. So those positive relationships correlate into a counselor position, because what we want to do is we want to foster those positive relationships with the other levels of government, with the province, with the federal government. The more we can have our grant money proposals ready, the more shovel ready our projects become. Those positive relationships with Alberta Transport, for example, could really help us with Highway 37 and some of our dangerous intersections. Prioritizing the improved roads is top of my list. I joined the Transportation Drainage Committee Advisory Committee, and that's the goal I intend to have as the #1 priority if I'm elected, is to work on improving roads. I want to increase fire protection for West Sturgeon. I'd like to see a fire hall in Villeneuve. Broadband internet is an issue for everyone in the county. As pointed out, it's in this.
Matthew, thank you very much. Well done. Well done, everybody, in the introductions. I think that went very well. Sorry for the few technical glitches that we have, and thank you for hanging in there, as we may encounter a couple more before this is over. We're now going to start the question and answer component of our forum, and we'll be starting in the same order that we did the introductions. As we move on with the questions, whoever starts first will go last, and we'll keep proceeding that way, so everybody has an opportunity to be first up to bat, so to speak. The first question of the 2021 forum is this: do you support Sturgeon County Utilities acquiring the water and wastewater system from the Elkendale Co-op? We'll start with our #1, Walker Natchu, followed by Ronald Shaw. Walker, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The need for utilities access among residents is obviously very important. I know that in many places in the county, prices have gone up, and we need to either work with communities around us in order to secure utilities for residents, or possibly take that responsibility upon ourselves. I'll be completely honest. I haven't looked into the acquisition of wastewater and water utilities in Elkendale. I've been focusing more on issues that I've been hearing from the residents I've been speaking to.
Walker, thank you very much. Next up, we will have Ronald Shaw, who will be followed by Jason Berry. Ronald, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, hello. You know, I said the same thing as the former candidate. For sure, having utilities, I think, are super important. And we all know that the cost of utilities are definitely going to become an issue down the road. And I think as well, I've kind of focused my stuff on my area, which is the east side, unfortunately, and not on the west side. But, you know, I think the acquisition of utilities is never a bad plan. But again, I think that needs to also be tempered with the idea as to, you know, are these utilities, you know, what kind of shape are they in? Or is it there going to be some advantage to the county if we were able to use them? And again, I think those, you know, questions need to be answered, right? And that's a whole, I think, discussion and forum in itself. So thanks, guys, and that's all I got to say.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Next up, we will have Jason Berry, who will be followed by Neil Cuomo. Jason, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Again, just like the other guys said, I didn't realize this was even going on, and I follow the county fairly hard. So, but if it makes sense for a Sturgeon to acquire something and the infrastructure is in decent shape, all the more control you have over utilities and users online can help control actual pricing. So, like I said, we Division 6 have our own things with water. You know, you could probably put some water fill stations out in the county, but yeah, the more control Sturgeon has, the better it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason. Next up, we have Neil Cuomo, who will be followed by Wayne Bockenford. Neil, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, as far as the Elkendale Water Co-op and taking that over, the county taking it over, further negotiations are still ongoing, and that's been a process that's been slow for some of the residents, and I understand that. It's trying to figure out what that co-op has, the lines that are out there. There's been some issues whether they're up to par, how long that system will last. So that is where the engineers and the county and the representatives from the co-op, you know, further meetings are required to keep moving that dialogue forward to figure out what that position will be as far as the county taking it over or the water co-op continuing on. I know the co-op does not want to have that anymore, but it's figuring out how that county can attain that and what it's worth to the co-op, because there's been discussion over the years of what that's worth. And you know, as far as some of the comments earlier, it's been a bit of a handshake deal that was done in the past. So
thank you very much. Next up, we will have Wayne Bockenford, who will be followed by Deanna Stang. Wayne, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, sir. It's very interesting that this is a type of utility we have to cross. It's a utility that we have to be careful of our liability by accepting a utility doesn't cost us more in the long run. And I think that this is something that has to be investigated. I believe that the bulk of that system is over 30 to 35 years old and in failing condition. So what we have to do is find out what's prudent and most cost-effective way of supplying those residents with the water. The water for brought the water to the hamlet, and now we have to look at the distribution network. The co-op is not wanting to continue on in its same form. We understand that, and they've been our utilities department's been negotiating with the affected residents ongoing, and there may be creative solutions that might have to be outside of the norm to accommodate this, but I think that there's a prudent.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Next up, we will have Deanna Stang, who will be followed by Harco Middlecamp. Deanna, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Sorry, technical difficulties. First of all, I'm not familiar specifically with the Elkendale Water Co-op specifically. I would have my own questions. Obviously, as both Councillor Cuomo and Councillor Bockenford have basically said, is it feasible for the long term? Is it feasible for our county to assume this type of cost, knowing very well in the future that we're going to have to basically sink a lot of money into infrastructure? So we have to look at the big picture. Is it how many people will be using this infrastructure? And obviously it's the basic need of water. You have to be able to provide that for your residents. So it's a double-edged sword, but I'm not fully aware of the full situation with the Elkendale Co-op. So I would have my own questions moving forward with the expenses incurred.
Deanna, thank you very much. Next up, we will have Harco Middlecamp, who will be followed by Robin Fuhr. Harco, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, just like most of the other candidates said, like I'm not really familiar with the Elkendale Water Co-op either. Just like most of the other people said too, like I have my own questions. Is it feasible? How old is the system? Where does it go? You know, like we have to look into it and make an educated decision from there. I think that's the most important part. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Harco, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Robin Fuhr, who will be followed by Lee Danchuk. Robin, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I'm familiar with what's happening with the water at Elkendale. And yes, I think it's a very important thing. One of the basic rights of humans is the right to water. There's a lot of people in this country that don't have water, clean drinking water. At present, county is running water, or the Alberta government is running water from Villeneuve to the airport to support that. We have water in other communities, subdivisions, River Kabar, other places like that where they have water and sewer available. So having something like this in Elkendale, I don't think should be an issue. Even though it may be an older setup, we need to do something to help these people out because they're members of our community and they're taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Robin, thank you. Next up, we'll have Lee Danchuk, who will be followed by Matthew Mclennan. Lee, if you're ready.
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't aware of this and I don't have too much knowledge of it, but as a municipal manager, I would think there's a number of things we have to ask before we jump into purchasing the co-op, like what is there advantages to the county, the costs, what's the infrastructure, pipes and so on look like, what's the benefits going to be to Sturgeon County, and what's the cost going to be to the other taxpayers. I agree with most what has been said that we're entitled to fresh drinking water. However, they're probably already getting it through the co-op, but I would like to look into the overall picture before I would make a decision on it. Thank you.
Lee, thank you. And next up, we have Matthew Mclennan. Matthew, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stephen. Is it Stephen or Stefan?
Stephen.
Stephen, thank you. This is a good question. And I think there was a couple of people that touched on it. What I like to do when I'm assessing investment is to look at ROI, which is the return on investment. And I like to compare that against other projects to evaluate which one's going to be our better investment. I often hear people talk about why we don't have more water co-ops in Sturgeon County. I would definitely like to see us promote them in general. The other issue is the liability issue, which is a good point because pipelines age, they deteriorate. We want to make sure that we have good knowledge about the condition of the pipelines, condition of the infrastructure. If we have good knowledge, then we can make decisions based off the information. So we'll make decisions based off of the information and the facts. So that's.
Matthew, thank you very much. And that concludes the first round of questions. We'll move on to our second round of questions. This time we'll be led off by Ronald Shaw, who will be followed by Jason Barry. Walker Natchu will be our last speaker on the question. The second question is this. Broadband and internet speeds have been a concern for Sturgeon County residents for a long time. The county currently has a broadband pilot program. Do you believe it's working for the community? And if so, is there anything you intend to do to improve current levels of broadband internet? We will start with Ronald Shaw, followed by Jason Barry. Ronald, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. In terms of talking to many of my residents here in the last few weeks, I feel like the broadband is still definitely an issue. We're still having problems with people who are having great broadband. and having trouble working from home. And so I think, as mentioned earlier, our lives are really dependent on broadband nowadays. We use it for every single thing, from online banking to working to going to school to, entertainment and just, communication with even our families. So I think that, the pilot, I think is probably pretty new but yet I still think there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done here, and encouraging companies to come in, set up, make sure we have adequate broadband for all the residents. And I just think it's a tool that definitely is something that is definitely need to be focused on in the upcoming term here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Next up, we'll have Jason Berry, followed by Neil Como. Jason, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, we're at the point where broadband is not a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. In 20 years from now, how big is that going to play a role in our everyday lives? I've already talked to many people on council with regards to this broadband, and given my views and my experiences with actually installing the infrastructure of broadband. And I believe there's ways of doing it that it's where you take on debt for the infrastructure and the rest comes into play with the service provider. They will do a lot of the work just to get the contract. Simple as putting new conduit into new homes or subdivisions. That will save lots of money going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason. Next up, we'll have Neil Como, who will be followed by Wayne Bockenford. Neil, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, as far as the investment,
so I think we've encountered some technical difficulties.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good now. Why don't we reset the clock and we'll give it another go there. When you're ready, Neil, the floor is yours.
So as far as the broadband investment that the county made, it was a $7.3 million investment, and it isn't working currently because it hasn't been rolled out yet. It's something that is in the works. TELUS did an investment into the Valley, which they thought was going to take some of the load off the rurals. I don't know that that's happened yet, and I'm not even sure if TELUS is done doing that rollout in the Valley. This is something that Councillor Bockenford has been pushing for the last 4 or 5 years through his FCM contacts, and he really has brought it to this point. I will admit that in the beginning, I didn't think it was that much of an issue and didn't realize until COVID hit, where everyone's working from home, how valuable and important this is. So I think if anyone on this forum is going to speak to it well, it's going to be Wayne. I'll pass the torch to him. Thank you.
No audio, Stephen. Hello?
There we go. I don't know why my microphone is randomly cutting out on me. Thank you for that, Wayne. Appreciate it. That was a nice setup for you, Wayne. Next up is going to be Deanna Stang, and it appears that you're ready to go. So without further ado, Wayne Bockenford.
Thank you. Yes, this is something I've been championing for a great deal of time. I have 40 years in the security business, and understanding that the backbone of home security is our communications, and they were easily defeated by cutting a phone line. So I have a long history with communications, and I understood that if you want to look into the future, how do you reverse engineer the future? And that's by getting broadband to all our residents. With FCM, I'm appointed to Rural Forum and Northern Remote Forum. I've been reappointed for my 6th year this September. So if reelected, I'll be on for the full term. And we are lobbying the ministers firsthand to try and create a flat rate policy across Canada from our United Carriers. And it's interesting that the minute that we talked about that on a board level, 2 days later, the carriers raised their rates across the country. So it's the carriers are listening, but $15 billion in rural broadband still doesn't get out to the rural municipalities. And Sturgeon County is
Wayne, thank you very much. We'll move on to Deanna Stang, who will be followed by Harco Middlecamp. Deanna, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
There we go. This has been a concern of mine as well. It's definitely something that I would champion. I have a direct line of sight to a broadband tower and I still don't have service properly. So, you know, we are evolving. We're working from home. Our students are working from home. The concern is the fact that a lot of these outlets are home security. All of these things are based on broadband. And if we don't have that service, it becomes a safety issue. What if we can't call those emergency services? What if we can't make those connections? So I definitely support ongoing talks with increased amount of broadband availability to everyone. And I know in Division 5, we have a lot of trees to account for and whatnot. So sometimes that's an issue as well, just getting that direct line of sight and satellite availability. So it's definitely something that I will champion.
Yeah, thank you very much. Next up, we will have Harco Middlecamp, who will be followed by Robin Fuhr. Harco, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely support that too. Like we did a year of homeschooling with the kids here and really found out the weaknesses in the system. And we've tried numerous of different companies already. So I'm definitely on board and trying to find out how we can make it better for all residents in Sturgeon County. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you very much.
Harco, thank you. Next up, we will have Robin Fuhr, who will then be followed by Lee Danchuk. Robin, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Being that I'm a computer engineer, I do have experience with broadband and internet connections, that type of thing. I think it is a big part of our lives now, and I do support it. It's a valid concern for residents, and as previous candidates have pointed out, it's part of our lives. But I guess my question is, what's being piloted? Are we subsidizing the providers for our internet service, or are we subsidizing our users? What exactly is happening with the $7.3 million that we're putting into this broadband? We were just talking about Elkendale not having sufficient water and sewer. It costs just over $3 million to run water from River Kabar to Elkendale. So could not some of this money be spent on improving people's quality of life so that they have a better quality of life? I need to understand more about it, but I'm definitely in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'll have Lee Danchuk, who will be followed by Matthew Mclennan. Lee, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm all for anything that's going to make the internet. I run a small business and I rely a lot on the internet on my cell phone. And I can just reiterate what everybody else has said. It's imperative, like for some of the areas to get in touch with the fire department, the police department, and if our internet and our cell phone service is going out, it's not a good thing. So I'd be in support of anything to do with getting better service for us in the.
Lee, thank you very much. Okay. Next up, we have Matthew Mclennan, who will be followed by Walker Nachu. Matthew, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you. As mentioned, I find it disappointing that this file has fallen to the municipal county level. I feel like as a business person, I like to see the businesses step up and have the investment into the county. I would prefer that we facilitate private business to handle the file. That being said, it's been deemed a necessity and we have to do something about it. I empathize with everyone who has to homeschool and run businesses from home. I understand the frustration. That being said, I would like to see more details about this project, the pilot project. I'd like to move forward with it if it's feasible, but I do think we need to be very careful that we don't turn this into a big overspending situation. we need to be really focused on how much value we're getting for it.
Matthew, thank you very much. The last speaker to address this question is Walker Nachu. Walker, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, obviously, I think everyone's already stated the importance of internet access. I think we could all go on about our personal troubles with it. I want to thank previous council for making a lot of progress towards what we have now. But it's not finished. There's still a lot to be done. And like the previous candidate said, I don't want it to turn into something that's not worth the tax dollars spent on it, which is why I think it's really important that we make sure that we're able to access the $150 million funding that the provincial government set aside for rural broadband. But currently we were not able to access that because we supposedly, even though we don't meet the benchmark set by the federal government for sufficient internet access.
Walker, thank you very much. And that concludes question number 2. We're going to move on to question number 3. Question number 3, first person up to bat will be Jason Berry, followed by Neil Cuomo. And the third question is this. One of the single biggest topics affecting everybody's life today is COVID-19. How do you believe the county has handled COVID-19? What is your position on mask mandates and vaccine passports? And is there anything you would do to improve or change the county's current response to COVID-19? We're going to be starting with Jason Berry, followed by Neil Cuomo. Jason, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Well, that's a question that you might need more than a minute, but COVID-19, I really truly believe that the Provincial Health Authority, AHS, or Canada Health, should be the governing authority over this. The county doesn't have any resources for health info, so I would defer to the province. I personally am vaxxed. I don't agree with the county enforcing vax mandate, but I do like the businesses to operate, and they can enforce it. As for that's all I got to say about that. Thank you.
Jason, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Neil Cuomo, who will be followed by Wayne Bockenford. Neil, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, as far as vaccine passports, I don't think that that's something that we as the county need to wade into. I think that's a provincial/federal matter. I think that they have more information than we at a county level, municipal level will have. And when you have all different municipalities operating in silos on their own, you're going to have different rules when you cross borders, and that makes it very difficult for the average person that's not going to know, do I need a mask in this community? Do I need a passport in this community? I think that it's been downloaded onto the municipalities, unfortunately, and I think that it's been downloaded onto the businesses in those communities as well, when it's a decision that should have been made or could be made by the province and or the federal government. Thank you.
Neil, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Wayne Bockenford, who will be followed by Deanna Stang. Wayne, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, it's certainly interesting times. No one could have predicted that we would be in a pandemic like we have been over almost 2 years now. It definitely changed the course of how business is done. Be able to have the county offices within 3 days have 85% of our employees be able to work from home. I think that was a great feat done by our administration in trying times. And I think that we're leading by example by trying to do the best we can with the limited information that we have. I don't think that I didn't get into this as an elected official to be policing the people's health. but yet the province has downloaded a lot of that responsibility to us. First and foremost is the safety of our residents. And so however we can protect our residents is our mandate. And I don't think we need to be delving into the provincial jurisdictions as far as passports and mandates. But I do think that we do need something of a standard so that people can travel and be able to know that.
Wayne, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Deanna Stang, who will be followed by Harco Middlecamp. Deanna, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. This has been a contentious issue, and I feel for every single one of you who are going to reply to this question. It's not a position we obviously want to be in. As non-elected individuals, we have to make decisions sometimes. I believe I am vaccinated. I believe in the greater good for the greater community. And I also trust the fact that I have to believe fundamentally that the professionals at the top level are giving us the right information. But when it comes down to a municipal level, this is grassroots politics per se, and we really have to look out for each other and do what's best. And sometimes we don't know. And obviously in this current climate, there's mistakes being made left, right, and center. So again, I'm vaccinated and I believe in the fact that we should protect our greater good, whether that is masking or not, but it's going to be a crazy issue, and that's all I can say.
Yeah, thank you. Next up, we will have Harco Middlecamp, who will be followed by Robin Fuhr. Harco, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I was hoping this was not going to be an election issue, but it's being an election issue. I think everybody has to do what is best for their situation where they're in. I believe Alberta Health Services and the federal services need to look after this, and not at a municipal level. We don't have the means to deal with this. Thank you very much.
Harco, thank you. Next up, we will have Robin Fuhr, who will be followed by Lee Danchuk. Robin, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. I guess my profession is in construction and in computer engineering. So I'm not a healthcare professional. So for me to say you should or should not be vaccinated is not up to me, but I am fully vaccinated. I have parents who are elderly, and as far as I'm concerned, they're all vaccinated. And as far as wearing masks, I think it's a great idea to protect other people as well as yourself. We have to look out for other people in our community, not just for ourselves. Vaccine passports are another great idea. It protects people when you go to their businesses, the people that work there. You go there, you don't know who's protected and who's not. So if the employees have some way of telling who does have some type of passport and they're protected, I think that's a great idea. I would like to see everyone protected for the good of the community and for everyone's health. Thank you.
Robin, thank you. Next up, we'll have Lee Danchuk, followed by Matthew Mclennan. Lee, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yes, this is quite the issue that's been brought up through the circles that I've been around the county. But both my wife and myself are double vaccinated, and I don't think it's really a municipal responsibility, as some of the others have said. You have to rely on the professionals in the health, the doctors and the people in the health business to carry this through, and whatever it takes to save some lives. I know friends of mine have been lost to COVID, and whatever it takes to save lives, I'm all for it. Thanks.
Lee, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Matthew Mclennan, who will be followed by Walker Natchew. Matthew, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you. I likewise think this is an Alberta government AHS responsibility. I think that the proper way to proceed with this is to know our position as council, as municipal government. We're enabled by the MGA, the Municipal Government Act, I think that it's important that we follow our mandate, that the leaders of the Alberta government in this case need to lead. And in our case, we need to do what we can to encourage our neighbors. I know for myself, talking to people in the county, it's deeply concerning the how upset and how the trouble it's causing residents. I think we need to look forward to find a way where we can look beyond what we're dealing with now and what kind of world we want it to look like when we come out of this. So I just want to take a moment to encourage everyone that's listening to be kind to your neighbors, to work with your neighbors, understand their issues.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Next up, we'll have Walker Nachu, who will be followed by Ronald Shaw. Walker, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, like the other candidates have said, obviously this is not something that a municipal government is equipped to deal with. Obviously things like vaccine passports and being able to enforce that is a provincial and a federal responsibility. But that being said, I do think that we have a need to do what we can to protect the businesses in our county. I think that directly affects us and it affects our residents. So doing what we can to make sure that those businesses can stay open and, you know, keep people working and active in their community. I think that's quite important. But really, again, I think we need to be careful not to overstep our bounds and just to try and give our residents good information.
Walker, thank you very much. Our last speaker to this question is going to be Jason Berry. Following Jason's response, we're going to take a well-earned 5-minute break. Let everybody get refreshed. We'll come back and follow up with the second round of Q&A. But before that, Jason, you're up to bat. If you're ready, the floor is yours.
I answered the COVID question already.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's me. We get all the way through? Oh, you know what, Jason? I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
I think it was Ronald.
You get to answer it twice. No, I'm sorry. Forgive me, please. It's Ronald Shaw's turn. Ronald, please forgive me. Ronald, you're the last speaker on this question. If you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, definitely. This has been quite an ongoing issue for the last couple of years. And, you know, I concur with my other candidates definitely that definitely doesn't fall within a municipal directive as far as I'm concerned. It's more of a federal / provincial mandates that have been coming down. And so I kind of look for direction from them. They are the specialists. They're the ones who are working with this. And as far as downloading onto the municipalities, I think that it's kind of a little bit unfair. But I do believe that that county has done some great things. They're encouraging the masking. They've got the vaccine passports. They've done, their due diligence, I think, in supporting. And, for me, this is a really tough decision because, it's everybody's health. Everybody wants to, do what's best for their own health. So it becomes a really big decision. And like I said, supporting, both sides of the issue is, there's definitely points for and against. So I think that, just like I said, with your neighbors and whatnot, we want to.
Ronald, thank you very much. We're going to take a 5-minute break. There's been some excellent answers to our questions. You've certainly earned your 5 minutes of respite. So get yourself refreshed, but we'll be starting right away at 5 minutes sharp. For those of you at home, set your clocks. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Who will be first up at the end of the 5 minutes?
We will be starting with candidate number 4, Neil Cuomo, will be followed by Wayne Bockenford and then Deanna Stang.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Walker. Welcome back, folks. If we can get everybody to come back and turn their cameras on, that would be terrific. We'll start it up in 30 seconds or so. All right, it would appear that everybody's back. We're going to start round 4 of the question and answer. We will be starting with Neil Cuomo, followed by Wayne Bockenford, and then Deanna Stang. So folks, if you're ready, question number 4 is this. The Edmonton region is collaborating in many areas: economic, transit, agriculture, etc. In your opinion, what role should Sturgeon County be playing in the region? And I call this the Goldilocks question. Is Sturgeon County collaborating too much, too little, or just about right? We're going to be starting the question and answer with Neil Cuomo, followed by Wayne Bockenford. Neil, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
As far as collaboration in the county and within the Edmonton region, the EMRB, I think we definitely need to have a seat at the table. There are certain projects that the MRB have brought forward that really don't make a lot of sense for the county, and subsequently we've opted out and taken a back seat on some of those. Public transit is one. At this point in time, we're too rural, we're too spread out to even go down that road. But as far as working together with other municipalities and collaborating, it's definitely something that I think we need to continue to do. We can work through inefficiencies together and help each other out when need be, and really lean on each other when need be. A classic example of collaboration that should and could work is for fire and policing. Definitely something that communities need to work together on. So that's where I am at on collaboration. Thank you.
Neil, well done. Thank you for the answer. Next up, we'll have Wayne Bockenford. Wayne, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Regional collaboration is huge. Edmonton has a veto vote at the Edmonton Metropolitan Regional Board. So we do have to have collaboration with our neighbors to be able to get anything passed there. With that being said, there is going to be a new mayor of Edmonton. There's going to be a new mayor of Parkland, and there's going to be a new mayor of Spruce Grove. So there's a real opportunity to take advantage of this void in experience and be able to get the rural message out to these people, because the idea of having our rural youth move to St. Albert or a municipality and then commute back to the farm to work is not going to make sense by stopping rural subdivisions. So I think that there's an opportunity. And the Villeneuve Landing Network is one regional collaboration that Mayor Natchu and myself started. And we're working with our regional neighbors to create a value-added network chain at Villeneuve. So we're well on our way to that regional collaboration, working with that.
It looks like we've lost Stephen. We'll just try and get him back here. Just give us a second.
Hey guys, we just need a couple of seconds. We lost our camera, so we apologize. We'll be back online as soon as possible.
I think Neil finished his.
Hi, Deanna. We're going to get you to start with the question. We're going to start it, and then hopefully by the time you're done, we'll have Stephen back online.
Okay, great. To me, I feel partnerships are important, but they have to be done respectively. Our residents do use the services within the city limits, such as hospitals and whatnot. I understand they're provincially funded, but there are also services used within the city. But that's where I say it can be reciprocated, such as fire services. We literally have fire halls on the edges of St. Albert and Edmonton that could definitely help out in situations close to Villeneuve and whatnot. Everyone has pretty much said as much for fire services in all of their different areas. So this is definitely, no pun intended, a hot topic. So that's why I think it's important to work together on collaborating with the community. Obviously, we have to do what's best for Sturgeon County and protect our interests at the same time.
Hi, Harko. You are up next. We're going to get you to start.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I definitely think we need a seat at the table there, so we can find out what is going on in our neighboring communities. That said, we definitely got to make sure Sturgeon County comes first before the other stuff at the table is set over there. Yeah, that's all I have about that. Thanks.
I might need you to go somewhere else.
Megan, I went to mute Harko and I muted you.
So Robin, you're next.
All right, thank you very much. As Edmonton and St. Albert move out and start taking up more land around Sturgeon County, I think we have to look at this very carefully. I think we need to have some control over what is happening so our residents are able to understand the situations. We have strengths in Sturgeon County, and I think if we use our strengths as well as the strengths of other municipalities around us, we can come to some type of agreement that will work for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. I don't know who's next.
I do. We have Lee Danchuk next, followed by Matthew Mclennan. Lee, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yes. I hope you can hear me. Anyway, I think that regional cooperation is imperative. I know that there's the Edmonton Regional Board, and to which Sturgeon County has a seat on it. However, all the smaller municipalities such as Sturgeon can be overruled by Edmonton, I believe, because they have the main vote. Anyway, I know there are some other reciprocal agreements already in place, such as fire with neighboring municipalities such as St. Albert, Fort Saskatchewan, I believe, and other, probably Edmonton. So it's imperative that we do cooperate and exchange services. So fire, police would be great. Thank you.
Lee, thank you very much. And folks, thank you for bearing with us while we're trying to work through some technical difficulties here. I think it shows a lot of resilience from the candidates, so well done, everybody. So following Lee Danchuk, we will have Matthew Mclennan, who will be followed by Walker Nachu. Matthew, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. The collaboration between municipalities is imperative. To answer your question, in some cases it's too little, in some cases it's just enough. I think that an example where we've seen some success is in the annexation process. Unnecessary adversarial processes do not help us. Given that we're, as described, subject to an Edmonton veto, I find that you get more bees with honey than with vinegar. So my first approach would be to be very constructive in our relationships with our neighbors, in the hope that we could have more response in reciprocity agreements, as mentioned with the fire and protective services. That's really going to be a benefit to us all. So the more we're able to talk to each other and work together, the better it'll be for us all. Thank you.
Matthew, thank you so much. Next up, we will have Walker Nachu, who will be followed by Ronald Shaw.
Hello. Yeah, obviously, like it's been said, collaboration absolutely is key. Because by working with surrounding municipalities and the municipalities incorporated within Sturgeon County, we're able to share costs on a lot of different services. For example, fire, bylaw, and even economic development and planning commissions, I think can be really effective when we have people from the whole region sitting at the table and working together, so that there's a unified and mutually beneficial direction between everyone. It also, like Councillor Bockenford noted, is really important when we're going to lobby at higher levels of government to have a unified voice, so that we're able to punch above our weight class.
Thank you very much, Walker. Next up, we'll have Ronald Shaw, who will be followed by Jason Berry. Ronald, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Hi there. Yeah, you know, in total agreement with the other candidates here. For sure, collaboration is such an important element, I think, nowadays in any business, no matter what you do. You know, the sharing of knowledge alone is super important. When we share knowledge, we're able to help, you know, create, you know, good protective services, great fire, great, policing and all kinds of things, right? And so I think sharing knowledge is super important. One of the things that I'm kind of leery about is, you know, as these cities get bigger and move out, you know, valuable farmland is starting to get used up, and we have some of the best farmland here in Sturgeon County. So for me, you know, being protective of that is important. Food is one of our basic needs. And again, I think we don't want to see, you know, our prime farmland being just given away or sold, because I think it's important that we have these resources in our communities. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Next up, and the final speaker on this topic will be Jason Berry. Jason, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Sorry about that. Yeah, obviously, to answer your question, is there too much? Can you have too much communication with your biggest, you know, brother next to you? No, I don't think you can. Can you have too little? Obviously, yes. You can have too little, and that's not good. We don't sell ourselves short as well here at Sturgeon County. We have a lot of things going for us. You know, let's just look at my backyard at the Heartland. I think Edmonton has a big interest in what's going on there. So let's not sell ourselves short in Sturgeon County and thinking we don't have a say. You know, there's a lot going for us. So let's communicate and keep it up.
Thank you very much. And well done to all the candidates. And I do want to thank you all for hanging in there while we juggled a couple of the technical challenges that we occasionally have in these sort of virtual forums. Folks, next up is question number 5. We'll have Wayne Bockenford leading off, followed by Deanna Stang. And the 5th question is this. Mayor Nachu has stated that she hopes to bolster relations with the Alexander First Nation, Michelle Band, and the Métis Local. What plans do you have to work with our local Indigenous groups? We'll start with Wayne Bockenford, who will be followed by Deanna Stang. Wayne, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
No, thank you very much. Actually, this is a great question. As being a Métis descendant of the Michel Band, it's very important to me that recognition is not lost on our ratepayers, that this was an Indigenous property prior to settlers coming down here. And some of my family were those settlers that came in on those canoes. So we have long-term family roots here. And what I would like to see is that we have our namesake, the Sturgeon River. And since it was the original highway, I would like to be able to see that we do something along a trail system to honor that history. And if we can do something around the Big Lake, work with St. Albert, Big Lake, Lois Hole Provincial Park, and the outlet to the Sturgeon River to the Big Lake, I think that we can do something really amazing here in the near future.
Wayne, thank you very much. Next up, we have Deanna Stang. Deanna will be followed by Harco Middlecamp. Deanna, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you on that. I strongly feel that continuing education to all of our residents is imperative to continue the healing process through as we move forward. And we need to continue the efforts at a federal level, provincial level, and a grassroots level. And again, that comes down to understanding and moving forward. And I look forward to that opportunity.
Thank you very much, Deanna. Next up, we have Harco Middlecamp. Harco will be followed by Robin Pure. Harco, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely think we can work together, and you know, there's lots of history that that is there, and it gets lost and isn't spoken of. So I definitely think we need to go back to the roots and find where history brought us here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Harco. Next up, we have Robin Fuhr. Robin will be followed by Lee Danchuk. Robin, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I think recognition of the Indigenous groups, of their land and their rights to it, is very important. And as was previously mentioned, education of people to understand the situation and how we can improve how we deal with Indigenous people and moving forward to make things better for them, and so that we can all get along in this world and improve things for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Next up, we'll have Lee Danchuk, who will be followed by Matthew Mclennan. Lee, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
I think it's imperative that we recognize the historical lands of the natives, and we should be respectful of their heritage, and as we move forward, respect the lands that we are currently on, and be thankful for what has transpired as a result of the relationship with our native population. So thank you, Indigenous population.
Next up, we'll have Matthew Mclennan, who's going to be followed by Walker Nachu. Matthew, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Hi, yes, thank you. So when it comes to working with the Indigenous groups, I happen to, our Division 3 borders Alexander First Nation, and working with the people there to develop their strengths is going to benefit us all. Indigenous values are a benefit to us all. There's a lot that we can learn from each other. There's a lot of things we can learn from each other with all of our neighbors if we take the time to listen. I know, speaking with lots of folks in our division, that people value the community and they value their neighbors. And I think that's really the way we move forward, is we look at our commonalities and we recognize each other's strengths, and we use them to bring us all forward. So that's my.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Next up for this question, we have Walker Nachu, who will be followed by Ronald Shaw. Walker, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, like it was said, with Alexander First Nation being one of our neighbors, I think it's really important that we're making sure that we're recognizing the importance of including Indigenous people in the decision-making process. And that goes beyond just empty gestures and special days that we've seen from the federal government, a lot of. But I think what we really need to do to do better is make sure that there's a seat for Indigenous people at the table when we're making decisions. I don't think that just recognition accomplishes much. I think what's most important is that they're heard and they have an impact on their own future. I mean, what anyone wants is to be able to be in charge of their own future, and I think that First Nations people should be given that right.
Thank you very much, Walker. Next up to answer this question, we have Ronald Shaw. Ronald will be followed by Jason Berry. Ronald, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
There you go. So my feeling is, definitely creating understanding of their heritage is a super important thing to do. And I think, as an educator, I've been working in the schools for a long time. I think this is something that's really come to the forefront. We really want to make sure that we kind of understand the history. I think it's really important that we understand the history so we can kind of move forward. And I think that once we create that understanding, we can understand, part of their culture and what the basic needs mean to Indigenous people. And I think that really creates a sense of need that we need to move forward and include them in our conversations and be a big part of our community. So they bring a lot of value. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronald. Next up, we'll have Jason Berry, who will be followed by Neil Cuomo. Jason, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, I'm going to take this in a little different direction, being a trades guy and being heavily involved in the construction industry. I say let's get incentives out there for Indigenous community to work in the construction industry, particularly in the heartland or throughout, Sturgeon County. Let's get them in the trades. Let's teach them, skills to grow with the company, to have a good future, and I think that would serve well for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And our last speaker on this question will be Neil Cuomo. Neil, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, great topic. I think communication is key, and I've sat in at RMA a couple of meetings where they said, people from the outside looking in said, how do we interact with people from First Nations? And I found it very funny because to me, First Nations are no different than us. And I'm a Métis myself. We just need to communicate. And, Division 3 and 4 border Alexander, and we've had many meetings with them, Councillor Bockenford and myself, and, look forward to future collaboration with them. Just like the last question, how important is collaboration? Well, collaboration with Alexander is key as well. They have a lot to offer, and we just have to learn from them. They learn from us, and let's move forward together as a unit. I think that, the Métis flag, the Treaty 6 flag that are hanging at Sturgeon County's building currently, a testament to the last council. Acknowledge things, let's move forward and, create a better, longer lasting relationship. Thank you.
Neil, thank you. And great answers to that question from all of the candidates. Well done. Next up, guys, we're going to change things up just a little bit and cross our fingers that our technology will hang in there with us. But I'm going to ask a little bit of a hypothetical question to you. It's a speed question. You're going to get 30 seconds to answer this question. And it's a fun question, so have a little bit of fun with it if you can. So when you have been elected as a city councillor, there's hypothetical situation is that somebody drops $1 million on your lap as a grant to fund a project for Sturgeon County. How would you use that $1 million? We're going to start with Deanna Stang, and then we'll follow with Harco Middlecamp, followed by Robin Pure. Deanna, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
For me, that's an easy question. As a resident, I've had 5 houses burned down in a 2-mile radius. Just 2 nights ago, I lost another one. So $1 million would equip my area with better fire protection services. We're tired of losing more and more homes. So it would be fire protection and more policing in our area, hands down.
Thank you very much, Deanna. Next up, we'll have Harco Middlecamp. Harco, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
$1 million. Well, that's a lot of money in a short period of time to give away. But yeah, fire trucks, better, fire trucks are a good thing to have. The other thing is, I think a big community party and let everybody come to the table, meet your neighbor and have fun.
Harco, thank you very much. Next up, we have Robin Fuhr, who will be followed by Lee Danchuk. Robin, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. In the big scheme of things, $1 million these days is not a lot of money, but it could be put to good use with mental health. With COVID-19 causing a lot of issues in our community now with mental health on young people, I guess everybody with having mental health issues with being out of work, etc. I think it would be a good place to start, and then making sure that all of our services within the county are updated so that everyone is basically at the same level for services. Thank you.
Robin, thank you. Next up, we'll have Lee Danchuk, who will be followed by Matthew Mclennan. Lee, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
It would be an easy question for me as a former RCMP and fire investigator. It would go to fire and security for our residents. Mind you, $1 million would probably only buy one good new fire truck these days. So it'd take a lot more than that to get that, but fire, safety, and security of our residents, that's where it would go for me.
Lee, thank you so much. Next up, we'll have Matthew Mclennan, followed by Walker Nachu. Matthew, when you're ready, it's all yours.
Thank you. I don't know how exciting this is with the $1 million. I don't know if people will think this is exciting enough, but I will take the $1 million and put it towards roads. Close second to fire, but there's not enough to do both. So first priority would be roads. Thank you.
Matthew, thank you. Next up, we'll have Walker Nachu, who will be followed by Ronald Shaw. Walker, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, like it's been said, the $1 million doesn't get us too far these days. And I think that fire security is something that can really be relied upon with collaborating with other municipalities. So I think that something that we can do here on our own is contribute it to the $14 million we're going to be spending over the next 6 years to buy new transportation equipment. I think we could take a big chunk out of that.
Thank you very much, Walker. Next up, we will have Ronald Shaw, who will be followed by Jason Berry. Ronald, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
I think we have a crazy resource here in Sturgeon County that we don't even think about. We have an incredible rivers valley system, and it really doesn't get used. I would love to take that money and build trails for walking trails, biking trails. We could connect the county as one. I think it would just be an amazing opportunity, like the River Valley in Edmonton, to do something similar to that and create a lot of wellness for our people. That's what I would do with my $1 million.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Next up, we'll have Jason Berry, who will be followed by Neil Cuomo. Jason, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Well, they're all good suggestions, and I'll keep with the theme of giving it to the food bank, throughout Sturgeon County. I know the Gibbons and Bockenford Food Bank are going to be highly sought after this Christmas. I also would give some to mental health initiatives throughout the community. I think that would be a really good place to put it, just because of COVID. And
Jason, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Neil Cuomo. Neil?
As much as I would like to say roads, because that's usually my main concern in Division 4, right now I'd have to say protective services. Theft and vandalism are always an issue. Literally a week ago, a neighbor had his house broken into and his father's ashes were stolen, which you can't replace that. So, you know, we need to protect our residents. So it would go protective services. Thank you.
Neil, thank you. And the last person to answer this question will be Wayne Bockenford. Wayne, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Great question. And for $1 million, I would be putting it into protective services. The county is rolling out the rural broadband. This will give the ability to everybody be able to have a ring.com, have a camera system to be able to tie in to their home security. They'll be able to do some policing from home. I would like to be able to use the money to create a data bank where those videos can be sent to, so we can disseminate the information and give it to the RCMP in the appropriate times, so that we can actually be real live streaming events, watching a white van go down Range Road.
Wayne, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we only have 30 seconds for this rapid round. And with that, guys, before we get to the closing addresses, we're gonna stay on this theme. We're gonna do another fun rapid round question. You'll have 30 seconds to answer this question. Hope you have some fun with it. I know in your introductory comments, some of you spoke about where you live in Sturgeon County. So we're going to build on that a little bit. So for the people who are watching this forum, can you let them know where in Sturgeon County you reside, and what are some of your favorite things to do, to see, to be in Sturgeon County? We're going to be starting with Harco Middlecamp, who will be followed by Robin Fuhr. Harco, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right, I live between Gibbons and Redwater on Secondary Highway 651. We have the Opal Natural area just straight north of us. Spent quite a little bit of time in there, and yeah, enjoying the Redwater communities, ice hockey arena and the curling arena in the wintertime, as well as Woodridge and one in Coronado.
Terrific. Thank you, Harco. Next up, we have Robin Fuhr, who will be followed by Lee Danchuk. Robin, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, I live on Township Road 552, which is basically straight south of the South Sturgeon County office. So for me, I've spent some time at the Morinville Community Center, at their pool and at their running track there. I've been out to the facility at the Army base as well, using their facilities there. So there's lots to do around here for sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin. Next up, we'll have Lee Danchuk, followed by Matthew Mclennan. Lee, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
I live in Division 5. I live right on Highway 642, about 5 kilometers east of Morinville. What I love about the Sturgeon County is the diversity we have, from farmland to large rural residential homes to small business and big business. I have a small business that I run, but what I like best is harvest time and seeing the local farmers in the fields. So I love that.
Lee, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Matthew Mclennan, who will be followed by Walker Nachu. Matthew, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I love so many parts of Sturgeon County. I'm sure I'll miss something if I try and list them. There are so many nice places. The Meadowview Drive, I look forward for when it's completed paving, because I love Big Lake. I love the views you get of the city, and that when you go north of 37 and you can see the downtown of Edmonton, and it's a beautiful place to live, and I very much want to see it stay that way. So if people do decide to give me an opportunity, I think they'll feel comfortable that I have the county's best interest in mind.
Matthew, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Walker Nachu, who will be followed by Ronald Shaw.
I live in the southwest corner of Division 5, just north of Morinville. And as far as what I like to do in the county, I'm really passionate about supporting local businesses, namely Goose Hummock, Cardiff Golf and Country Club, and the course at CFB Edmonton. I think that those are all some great things to do in the county. And then we also have some great amenities as well with the leisure centers and parks that are in incorporated towns.
Thank you very much, Walker. Next up, we'll have Ronald Shaw, who's going to be followed by Jason Berry. Ronald, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, hi. I mentioned before, I live in the industrial heartland. So it was zoned industrial heartland about 10, 15 years ago here, and I live in the back corner. So I live kind of in a really bushy type of area with some farmland around. And the things that I love to do is I love to hike and bike in this area. There's lots of, for example, last 2 mornings, I have moose hanging out in my yard every single day with lots of deer. So I get to see a lot of wildlife back in this area, and it's awesome. You know, things I like to do in the community is the town of Gibbons. I like.
Ronald, thank you very much. Next up, we're going to have Jason Berry. Jason's going to be followed by Neil Cuomo. Jason, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I live in the southern edge of Division 6. It's called Casa Vista Subdivision. It's approximately 2 miles east of Gibbons. What I like to do, honestly, is we have a terrific little trail system. Go across the river and reach a vista where you can overlook the river. And right about this time, or actually about 3 weeks ago, when the trees were all beautiful, it was the best place to be. Anyway, thank you.
Jason, thank you. Sorry for that little buzz there. Good answer. We will, following Jason Berry, we have Neil Cuomo. Neil, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I live just west of River Kavar, actually 4th generation to live there. Live on the same home quarter that I grew up on. Can see the 3 houses that I've lived in my life all within a mile of each other. You know, community events are key to me. Family hockey tournament, River Kabar, West Country Hearth, the Hearth Attack, North-South game in Calahoo. These are all great family events where multi-generations go to and tie the community together. And I definitely love the wide open spaces that we live in. I think that's why we all live in the country. So thank you.
Neil, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Wayne Bockenford, who will be followed by Deanna Stang. Wayne, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I live in the very northeast part of my division, which is halfway between St. Albert and Morinville, just off of Highway 37. And born and raised in the area. And what I love about Sturgeon County is that the viewpoints from any different direction is always changing. The clouds, the sky, the blue open sky, the farm smells. Everything's always different. And I always take a different road home. And I'm always amazed at the architecture and the beautiful landscaping that is decorating our county.
Thank you very much, Wayne. And the last person to answer this question tonight will be Deanna Stang. Deanna, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I am west of Lily Lake Road on 582, basically almost center of Division 5 on the very north peak. I'm fortunate to have the Ferrydale Creek behind my home, so I often enjoy watching the wildlife with my grandchildren and snowshoeing and cross-country skiing and hiking through our area. I also enjoy the local businesses, the Lakeside Dairy with the cheesery and their new ice cream line. So I have to say I'm a glutton for punishment. So it's definitely, we're very fortunate to live in the area we do.
Yeah, thank you very much. And that brings a conclusion to our question and answer component of this evening's forum. Well done to all the candidates. You should be very proud of yourselves. Terrific answers to all the questions. This brings us to our concluding segment of the forum, which will be closing remarks. Each candidate is permitted to have 2 minutes to provide their closing remarks for the forum this evening. And we're going to be starting in reverse order from where we began our opening comments. We will be led off by Matthew Mclennan, followed by Lee Danchuk, and then Robin Fuhr. Matthew?
It's 1 minute.
Oh, I'm sorry, folks. It's 1 minute. Thank you very much for the correction. Folks, you have 1 minute for your closing address, and the order shall remain the same. We're going to start with Matthew Mclennan, will be followed by Lee Danchuk, and then Robin Fuhr. Matthew, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I just want to take an opportunity to thank everyone for participating. The panel, the folks listening at home, thank you for paying attention to us and spending your evening with us. As your counselor, I expect to be responsible to you. My view is that you're looking to hire someone for the job. I believe I'm the best person for the job. I will look forward to working with whomever is the lucky, fortunate winners of the contest. And I just want to share a final thought, just again, with the mental health aspect of things, the more we can do to encourage each other, the more that we can see a positive future outside of what we're facing now. I look at the strength that I see in West Sturgeon, and I was happy to see the cup in Calahoo, and I look forward to seeing it there again. So thank you very much. Thanks for paying attention.
Thank you, Matthew. Well done. Next up, we'll have Lee Danchuk. Lee will be followed by Robin Fuhr. Lee, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I would also like to thank all the candidates that have put their name forward. It would be an honor for me to represent the residents of Division 5. And I have the experience, I have the drive, I have the knowledge, and I have the ears to listen to every one of you with your complaints. And I thank you for this time, and then I look for your support on Monday. Thank you very much.
Lee, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Robin Fuhr, followed by Harco Middlecamp. Robin, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to thank the Morinville and St. Albert Chamber of Commerce for giving us this opportunity to speak today, and all the candidates for coming by and hearing all different opinions. For closing statement, I'd like to recap some of the items I would look at on council. I'd like to hold the line on taxes. I will do this through scrutiny of spending, thorough review of proposed capital projects and budgets. Councillor communication, I would like to improve communication with the Division 4 residents by keeping them informed and up to date on what's happening. Road services, I would like to review road services to find efficiencies and improvements. Community policing, I would like to have an examination and evaluation for improvement with residents so they can have a say in a degree of protection and costs involved. And in conclusion, I would like to think I'm approachable and responsive and would be accountable to the residents of Sturgeon County and Division 4. I will advocate for transparency and good governance and for the issues that will build a strong community. It's your community and your ideas that will help to move Sturgeon County forward.
Robin, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Harco Middlecamp, who will be followed by Deanna Stain. Harco, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming here tonight. And yeah, looking forward to hopefully be able to represent Division 5. I'm ready to do my part. I hope everybody else is coming out and voting. There's lots to vote on this go around. Yeah, thank you very much for everybody. And I'm ready to go to work. Thank you.
Harco, thank you. Next up, we'll have Deanna Stang, who will be followed by Wayne Bockenford. Deanna, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Once again, thank you to the Chamber for organizing the event. Appreciating the dynamic of our residents is paramount in our current climate. Ensuring the quality of life is maintained and enhanced through strong fiscal responsibility, transparent and accountable decisions. To summarize my goals, resident safety. I would like to be part of bringing a level of confidence back to the residents, fostering better communication with existing organizations such as Crime Watch. When we watch out for each other and report to the appropriate services, everyone will benefit. I will advocate for higher priority within our division for road maintenance, as we are a corridor to access many industries. Our existing framework needs better timely management. I will advocate to Alberta Transportation concerning the current state of highways and the safety concerns pointed out within our division. The vision of any council can be reached with many points of view and respect for the differences we each have. Working collaboratively with the full council is important to achieve the vision of our future. My ultimate goal is to have a great place to call home.
Deanna, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Wayne Bockenford, who will be followed by Neil Cuomo. Wayne, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's been a privilege to serve Sturgeon County for the last 8 years. I'm the only sitting council member that has 2 terms under my belt that is rerunning, and so I think I bring a set of experience that we've been there, done that, and that we new candidates I'd be able to help mentor along the line. And I believe that my vision is coming to fruition with roads, drainage, and broadband. I would like to see that continue, and I would like to finalize my term by bringing rural fire service to our community so that we all can benefit from lower insurance rates. And lastly, you know, it's a community that I'm born and raised in. I'd like my children to be able to stay here. And unless we are able to subdivide more properties off of our existing land, they won't have that opportunity. So I would very like to have the opportunity to continue on for the next 4 years to finish what I've started. Thank you.
Wayne, thank you. Next up, we'll have Neil Cuomo, who will be followed by Jason Berry. Neil, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
In closing, I just want to congratulate and thank all the candidates for putting their names forward for this election. I think all of the candidates, significant to others, also deserve a special mention for their support during this election period. Moving forward, all the successful councillors will continue to need this support. So definitely look at your significant other and thank them for their help along the way, and they're going to need to help you even further. With this election experience being a different one than in years past for residents and for candidates, a heartfelt thank you to the chambers for making this happen with this virtual forum tonight for the question period and for people to get to know who those candidates are. With that, I hope to have the support of Division 4 for re-election on the 18th and look forward to leading you in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Neil, thank you. Next up, we'll have Jason Berry, who will be followed by Ronald Shaw. Jason, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I think Division 6 will be in good hands no matter what happens on Monday. I think Ron's a solid guy, and all the best to him. As promised, I'll give you a little outline. I promise to listen and be available and respectfully communicate with all residents. Be fiscally responsible. I have a plan for roads and infrastructure and a common sense approach to solving them. Promise to see how Sturgeon County can help with rural crime. I want to work with council for solutions, not problems. And I think equal representation throughout the whole division is important. So I'll promise to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason. Next up, we'll have Ronald Shaw, and our last speaker of the evening will be Walker Nachu. Ronald, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
I'd like to thank all the candidates tonight. It was an excellent forum. And again, I'd like to thank Wayne too for running in my division. All the best to you. As far as why vote for me, I come with a very common sense approach, a very approachable, great listener, team player. Again, I want to see this community. I want to see Sturgeon County thrive, and especially Division 6 in the area that I'm representing. And so I love all the things about the county and where we live. And so I want to see that continue. And yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity tonight, guys.
Ronald, thank you. And our final speaker of the evening will be Walker Nachu. Walker, when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Okay, so just some items that are important to me that I wasn't able to touch on. First of all, transparency and communication. The county has a lot of good information out there, especially on the website, but it's very difficult to access. People need to be able to find the information they're looking for without combing through a 100-page document. There's plenty of economic development opportunities that are just waiting to be taken advantage of in Sturgeon County. I bring a unique perspective to council. I think it's really valuable to have as diverse of a committee as possible when you're deciding things by a group. And lastly, I would just like to invite everyone to my Zoom call. You can see the meeting ID there in the bar. And if you miss it, then you can come find it on my Facebook. I'll be taking questions there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And congratulations to all the candidates tonight. You all did a spectacular job. I wish you all the best come Monday. And it takes a tremendous amount of courage to put your name on the ballot. Thank you for your courage. Please pass along all of our gratitude to your families, who I'm sure have been with you every step of the way on this journey. So thank you. Job well done tonight, candidates. So folks, that concludes.
Thank you, Stephen, for your moderation. You've done a good job as a moderator. Excellent job. Thank you.
Well, Lee, thank you for hanging in there. And Canada.
Stephen, you're muted.
You're muted, Stephen.
Stephen, you're still muted, Steve.
There we go. Folks, I've got 3 screens in front of me, and I've got a mute button that just randomly goes on me once in a while here. So I do very much appreciate you hanging in there with us as we endure. Candidates, thanks for your support. I hope you felt it was a two-way street. I've been rooting for all of you, and you've all done a tremendous job tonight. And I felt your support as well. So let's try this one last time for our folks at home. Folks, that concludes this evening's virtual forum. On behalf of everyone, I'd like to thank all the participants in this forum that have chosen to seek office in the 2021 municipal election. We certainly appreciate the responses to what have been some difficult questions and a couple of fun questions as well. And I think you all did a marvelous job of handling those questions under a little bit of duress with the clock ticking. I'd also like to thank our virtual audience for attending this evening's forum. We hope that you're better informed about the issues and the candidates' respective positions. You've got a great slate of candidates here at Sturgeon County, and I certainly hope you all turn out and I sincerely encourage you to vote on October 18th. That's on Monday. This is very important, and these folks are working really hard to put their ideas out there, and they all deserve your support. I hope we have a wonderful turnout in the upcoming municipal election on Monday. I do also want to let everybody know that this forum was organized and hosted by your St. Albert and District Chamber of Commerce in conjunction with the Morinville and District Chamber of Commerce. And folks at home, if you are interested at all in joining the chamber, we encourage you to reach out, and we'd love to have you come on board and help us with our initiative. And with that, folks and candidates, thank you again. Please stay safe and have a marvelous evening. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Best wishes on Monday.
Good night.
Yes, well done, everybody. Great job.
All right, good night.
Good night, everyone.